Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, welcome back to the world-famous Wrestle House. I'm Dan Marty. Much more important than me is the man of the hour. We just recorded some great content for you guys on upcoming Wrestling Insider episodes. Hall of Famer himself, and I don't know how many different Hall of Fames, Mr. Gerald Brisco. Jerry, welcome.
Dan, thank you so much. Wow, Wrestle House. I mean, beach house, mansion galore. I'm in the wrong damn business. I got to tell you that. As I look out of your picture window there and I see the beautiful Gulf of Mexico, the waves rolling in, and it's just getting where that sun is starting to go down in the west. And we're going to see one of the most magnificent sunsets. But damn, you're holding out. Maybe I didn't ask for enough money here.
You know, the thing is,
it's too late now.
It's a $3.5 million home, but I'm just renting it. You know what I mean? I wish it was mine.
That's what Tom Brady said.
Well,
Derek Jeter's house. And he just walked out of that house.
He walked into the wrong home when he came down. Remember that story?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the famous story now. Hey, he got thrown out of the park. Now he owns the damn park.
Well, he's a Tampa Let. Now, were you happy with the Buck season, I imagine?
Well, am I happy with the Buck? I hadn't bought a Buck shirt in years. I mean, my next door neighbor, I had a next door neighbor that was actually a head coach of the Buccaneers, Lyman Bennett.
Really?
He was my next door neighbor, and a guy that lived right 3 houses around on the lake there was Leroy Selman, the great Leroy Selman. And then the great Jimmy Giles lived on the other side of the lake there. So I've been a Buccaneer fan since day one. Part of when I first bought my house, Dan, was in 1976. The closing of it was in September. The Bucs were opening their season. I had to be out of my old house, but the guy was giving me grief inside trying to buy more time to move in. And part of my deal was I got to be in, and because I live way out in the country, they get the first Buccaneer game. And the guy, I mean, he was, and everybody was picking on me because the guy was crippled and sick, saying I'm throwing a sick man out of the damn house. Well, damn right, I wanted to see his first game. So I got in just in time to get my satellite dish set up, and been in the house ever since. So I'm a long-time Buccaneer fan. And I wasn't a real one of those guys that was just jumping off the bridge because Tom Brady had signed, because the damn guy's 43 years old. You know?
He's pushing your age.
Yeah. And he should have hoped he is in this kind of shape when he gets
That's right.
But, man, he's in great shape now. He's going to win us another Super Bowl while you guys go 1-16 again. Notice I said 1-16 because you got 17 games this year.
It was 7-9, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It was 7. Certainly not a playoff caliber. But you know what? I have to say this. We don't want to talk too much football, but for any New England Patriots fan to be upset about what we went through last year, they should be ashamed of themselves, because for 20 years, look at the joy the Patriots brought the Boston community. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm gonna throw you guys a piece offering there. The love that was shown Tom Brady after he won the Super Bowl for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, after all those years of being a Patriot fan, it had to be so hard to see that. We've experienced that. Hell, we traded Steve Young.
Right.
We traded Doug Williams. We traded all these Super Bowl winners. And so we've been on that side, and I don't think we ever showed the love that the true fan up in the New England area showed Tom Brady. And the people down here in Tampa really appreciated that, because we appreciated y'all's gift to us.
Well, I tell you this, as someone that used to live in Florida a couple of months out of the year, for the NFC, the Bucs were always one of my team. I was happy that the Bucs won. You know what I mean? I think the Bucs also won. Was it 2002?
Yeah.
So that was the second flag that went up at that beautiful Raymond James Stadium, where WrestleMania 37 took place the past 2 nights. I wish the weather was as nice as it is right now outside as it was for WrestleMania. But like I said, what a magnificent event. A great way for the fans to get back in. I thought it was, from the first segment they did the first night, when they had all the talent come out on the stage and come out and thank the fans. That, to me, I don't know how you reacted, but that was very deep to me.
You were there live, right?
Yeah, I had the kid with me.
That's awesome. And I wasn't there live. This is the first WrestleMania. Well, last year, of course, and nobody was there, and everybody missed it. But this is the first WrestleMania that I've been non-affiliated and didn't have any responsibilities, so to say, whatsoever. So I was able to sit down and finally be what I am and watch WrestleMania, and that's a fan. I was able to sit down and watch it as a fan. And that first segment, when at that greeting, when all the talent came out there, and Vince was Vince and fired everybody up. I mean, what an entrance and what a feeling. And as a fan sitting in the audience, you had to be, because I know what kind of fan you are. You're a real fan. You had to get goosebumps to know we're finally back as normal as we can be for now. And that had to be such an outstanding feeling. And I just want to.
No, I was doing that because it kind of made you misty-eyed. For all that great talent for 13 months to have to compete in front of television sets or an empty warehouse, to finally have that fan base that loves them so much right there back in that stadium. It had to really pull on the strings of their heart.
As a talent sitting at home watching, and I watched that first match come to the ring, Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley.
And what a match that was.
And Bobby Lashley's, by the way, one of my Briscoe finds that I found years ago.
Really? Yeah. I love Bobby. He wrestled for us back in Boston.
Bobby, when I was first introduced to Bobby was a member of the U.S. Army Elite Wrestling Team. And a friend of mine that was communication director for USA Wrestling called me and he said, I got a guy for you that's currently in the Army, and he seriously got the look and seriously got the interest. You want to talk to him. And that's when I first put the feelers out and the full court press on Bobby Lashley.
Now, did you call him Bobby or Franklin?
I called him Bobby. I mean, but Bobby had to get an early release from the Army.
Did he?
And Bobby at Army gracefully gave. He took a couple of wrong directions in the beginning and didn't quite work out. But as he matured, he come around, and man, he's the best, one of the best there is in the business now.
Just as someone that enjoys wrestling, I thought, if you look over the past year, that, the McIntyre experiment, I wouldn't have had him lose until live fans were around again, just to gauge just how over he was. Is he someone that we can use as a main event guy? Is he someone that can be one of the faces of this company? Is he someone that's not going to fit that role? But unfortunately, he lost the title a couple of times to Randy Orton and then The Miz. So I think they did him a little bit of injustice. I honestly expected that they were going to give him that moment at WrestleMania. I thought he was going to go over on Bobby clean, and it was going to be Drew McIntyre's night holding the title. I think Bobby brings everything in the world that we should have in wrestling. Other than he's not the world's greatest mouthpiece, but he's got MVP for that. But he brings that legitimacy, that credibility. He's a badass that can kick your ass in your face. I think you give him a great run with the title. I would love to see a WrestleMania main event between Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. I think that you could print money with that.
I think that's exactly what people want to see is Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, because of the same similar backgrounds.
Right.
Bobby was a NAI as Brock does. Brock was a Division I, and NAI had some fine wrestling, and Bobby was one of their all-time best. And I'm so glad to see him come along as he's come along, and I'm just thrilled to death that he got that opportunity to come back and to be Bobby Lashley.
All right, wrestling fans, we have 3 great autograph photos available. We have one that came in from, where the heck is this right now? I just saw it a second ago. Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Jade McDougal. Jade wanted photo number 3, which is, I believe, the classic one, the black and white one of you. Jade, if you are watching right now, let us know how you would like the photo made out. Jade wanted that gray one.
Okay, this is number 2. Let me tell you a little history about this. It's
No, that's number 3.
Eastern Heavyweight Championship belt, I believe this is, around my shoulder.
Mid-Atlantic, yeah.
It's Mid-Atlantic, and an interesting story in this. There were 2 people in the history of Mid-Atlantic wrestling to hold Eastern Heavyweight Championship and the Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Championship.
Mm-hmm.
You know who those 2 people were?
I do not.
Jack and Gerald Briscoe.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting fact.
Yeah, only 2 people to hold the Eastern and the Mid-Atlantic Championship. The reason I did it was because the Eastern belt got retired and they started the Mid-Atlantic, so I just automatically got that. But that's always an honor, and I love this picture because of that of the title belt in the picture. So I'd be more than happy to. What color do you think this should go in?
I think on black and white, I always like the color blue, but that's just me. Is there a blue one?
I don't like to sign in blue for some reason.
All right, well,
I'm gonna do black because it's over my gray body there. I heard of damn, WrestleMania was just here in Tampa as we were talking about it.
Right.
So of course they go back to the history of Tampa wrestling. People know anything about territory wrestling know that we wrestled 7 days a week and twice on Sunday. So this Mr. TV announcer, and my old friend Ernie Ladd used to call him Mr. TV announcer, Mr. TV man. You know, he said Briscoe's had some moves, but they didn't have no tans. Well, hell, we were in a damn car every damn day. We weren't in no studio at 6 o'clock, had all day long to get out in the sun and have makeup people give us that artificial tan. So leave us alone. We were working for your entertainment, Mr. TV man. So yeah, I had some moves. I'd like to do one of them on you. You ever say I didn't have no suntan again? So anyway, what am I signing this?
Jade sent us a message. She just wants you to make it out to Jade.
Jade?
Jade.
Oh, that's easy. You don't have to spell it to me.
Oh, okay.
You think
right.
Well, come
on.
on.
I've been dealing with Tony for a long time, so Joe is hard for him.
I like that name, Jade.
Coming to us from north of the border. Thank you very much, Jade. Fans, if you want to order an autograph.
Saskatoon, where were we? Saskatchewan?
You got it. It's a mouthful.
All right, let me tell you, that's a mouthful. Let me tell you a quick, I got time to tell a quick story on this. A lot of people get mad at me because I tell these stories and I take up too damn much time. We don't get business taken care of. We won't get business taken care of. But we were traveling from Saskatoon down Winnipeg. I think you travel like that. But anyway, I'm with Vince McMahon, Pat Patterson, and Jim Ross. We're traveling along. All of a sudden, I look out to the north of the car. I see these lights flashing in the sky. Oh my God, that's the Aurora Borealis, man. That's where the first time I got to see them in their full glory. And anybody that's ever seen those things knows exactly what I'm talking about. And it's worth the interruption. If you hadn't, go up to northern Canada and see them, man. Okay, next, let's make some money.
All right. Also, I cannot forget the junior ambassador that came to WrestleMania that is en route home right now would love an autographed picture for his collection. He might know you best maybe from the hardcore title picture.
The hardcore. Now, this was a fun time of my career. I got the hell beat out of me too many damn times, but I had a hell blast.
Now, what color would be best for that?
And that'd be a gold one.
A gold one, because you got the gold on.
There we go. Well, that's actually the silver. You know the story behind this old hardcore belt, don't you?
Let's hear it.
That was the original Hulk Hogan belt.
Man. Oh, right.
Yeah, and then it got all crashed up. And see this little piece right there? By the time I ended to it, I got a banged over piece there. It was just dangling there. So when it came my time to give up the damn thing, I knew I'd never see the thing again. So I just ripped the damn thing off, put it in my briefcase. I still got it in my briefcase today.
You have that championship belt?
A piece of it. I don't have the damn piece. I think the belt actually went to Mankind, Mick Foley, where
It went back to Mick, who
where it
started.
deserves to be.
Well, you know what? If next time we do this, if you have, I don't know how easy it is for you to access in your home, but maybe we could even put the little piece on the set or something like that. That might be fun.
Well, I would.
All right.
My cost you. Who am I signing this one to?
This is, I'll spell it for you. D-E-V-A.
D-E-D-A?
No, D-E-V-A, like Victor.
D-E-V-A, okay.
U-G-H-N, like Nancy.
Pronounce that for me.
Devon.
Okay.
He is our junior ambassador going on the entire 15 years of his life. He saw his first WrestleMania and broke his mother's heart when he said it was one of the greatest nights of his life.
Smart kid.
He's a good kid. I love him to death. And just maybe show it off to the camera fans.
There
you can get an autographed photo just like that.
Even you can get this photo. I got all kinds of them. I got this one, my brother Jack and I getting inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2008. What a night that was. Rocky Johnson, Ric Flair went on for 4.5 hours, and he's probably still talking to somebody over there, thanking somebody. Flair is, but he talked all damn night long.
And I know our associate here, the studio. I'm so used to saying the studio. Here at Wrestle House, our friend Dave would like a photo as well. Dave, do you have one you'd like?
Yeah, I like the hardcore title one.
Would you mind?
The hardcore title.
Everybody likes the hardcore title. Okay. Now I'll ask you this, Jerry.
Now, what color do you want this?
Silver's good.
Gold?
Yeah, gold. That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
I know you were on the road an awful lot.
Dave, right?
Yes.
Were you ever a fan of the show The Jeffersons?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember Tom Willis, the neighbor on The Jeffersons?
Yeah.
He's got a little Tom Willis in him, if you know what I mean.
Oh.
He's got a little Tom Willis in him, Jerry. Actually, you know what? Not a little. A lot of Tom Willis. Really? Okay. All right. Brian Duffy, we say hello to you, the son of Choo Choo Charlie. If you are interested in an autographed 8x10, friends, the link is right here. Oh, didn't Vicente Ray want one?
Yeah, on the black and white one.
Okay, could we get a black and white one made out to one of our helpers that actually had to fly home to California this morning?
Poor guy.
He missed all the fun that we had.
Yeah.
He did.
And he's missing this. Wow.
And I tell you this, he took place. Actually,
who is he?
He was in the seminar you did in Boston. He came from California to Boston.
Oh, don't get mad, Dan. Just tell me his name.
But you know, he's kind of loaded up here. You know what I mean? He's
what's
got a
his
little
name?
breast meat.
Vince.
Vince.
Not that Vince.
Not that Vince. No.
Double.
We got a lot of questions.
How do you spell that?
We got a lot of questions pouring in, fans. Again, the super chat is open for business. Let's help keep Wrestling Legends working. The autograph photos will look tremendous in your Wrestling Man cave, your wall, wherever you put your photos. A photo album, maybe. Well, he's going to be very happy he gets a collectible. Again, we don't have a heck of a lot of time.
You know what I hate, Dan, on this? All the time that I was in the business, in the locker rooms that I shared with Great Stars, and I saw passed out pictures. I was never smart enough to add every territory that he ever went to. He had every talent's picture signed and everything. And I always, Pat, man, I hope I get your collection, but I didn't.
So what happened to his collection?
I don't know.
Did he have at the end of his time? Did he have a partner in life? Or?
No, and that was a sad thing. He was alone, and because Louis, he was so devoted to Louis, and people that knew Louis. I mean, Louis was a great partner with Pat, and kept Pat going, and so when Louis passed away, Pat was there was nobody else for Pat.
I thought it was a great testament by WWE. Everybody remembers King of the Ring 1998 when Undertaker threw Mankind off at the top of the Hell in the Cell. But that night, Jim Ross paid homage that Louis had passed away in June of 1998. And I think that says an awful lot about the company, that they went to the lengths on one of their live pay-per-views, to take time to respect him.
I was with, we were working some small town in Delaware when it happened. And I will never forget the moment that Pat found out. One of the production guys came over. I was working with Vince on a scene, and we're over at the side, and Pat and whoever he was working with was over on another part of the set doing another scene. So the guy came over, Vince, something personal I got to tell you. No shit. So you never like it. I see him go over, and I see him they're talking to Vince, and I just see that head drop straight down, Vince's head. Then all of a sudden he just shoots out. He looks straight at Pat and drops his head again, shaking his head. And the guy walks away. And he calls me over, tells me what happened. He said, "I got to be the one to tell Pat what happened." So
you had to tell him?
No. Vince said he had to be the one to tell him. I said, "Yes, you're right." And so he walks over and he tells Pat. He brings Pat over, by where we were standing. And I hear him telling Pat, and then Pat, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Vince said, "Well, number one, you can go to my office. You're going to sit down." And he said, and back in those days, we didn't have the money. We weren't flying private planes.
Right. There was no
we
plane
were
in
driving
98,
a car.
right?
Yeah. And so Vince said, "I'm chartering a plane to take you home now." So he chartered a plane that night to take Pat back when the rest of us, were just driving. But that's what Pat meant to the entire company.
Was he ill? Was this completely unexpected?
It was unexpected
Really?
as heck, yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
They had both of them. There'd been a lot of tragedy that year, and a lot of pressure on both of them, as everybody can imagine that knows the history of that year.
Yeah.
There'd been a lot of stress on him, and he had heart issues, and it was time.
That's too bad. Really too bad. But again, a lot of respect to WWE, not only for paying respect to him on the pay-per-view, but for what you just said, sending him off in a private jet in a day when there was no WWE corporate jet.
And there was no budget for it.
Right. A quick comment from our good friend Vaughn. She calls herself here, named Daniela. She said, "Jerry, Dan isn't yelling at you. He just gets loud when he gets excited." So I guess I must be excited to have you here with us at Wrestle House, because I do. I love being able to bring you guys the great superstars and the great legends to tell their stories. It is a passion of mine to try and keep wrestling legends. Look at the situation he's been in. His wife had a stroke in June of 2019. She's been in the hospital ever since, losing her income. Other than $40 a month, her Social Security goes to the hospital. Tony lost work because of coronavirus, plus the independent shows, the autograph signing. So, Tony's story is one of many, where the guys are hurting right now. You did all right for yourself, my friend. I mean, you're doing pretty good.
Well, I'm blessed, and I just fortunate the card fell my way, and you're right. There, we got a lot of comrades out there that have seen a rough time, and a lot of people out there, and we none of us want to see it, but we're all working through this thing, and we're all going to see better days ahead. So
that's the only way.
Keep that head up and keep moving forward, bro.
That's all we can do. Even our friend Marty Jannetty, who just, thank God, finally had his ankle reconstructive surgery, because he was basically walking on the ankle with his foot shifted up into the air. But I mean, even him, he's living in a trailer in the middle of Alabama, and just trying to get the rent paid every month. And if the fans could be more supportive, I would love to do this 7 days a week and try and keep the guys working.
And not only are you doing what you're doing, but I'm going to give a shout out to an organization that was started years ago. Lou Thez was one of the founding fathers of it. The boxer, Archie Moore?
Yes.
Archie Moore. Mike Mazurki one of the first, Mike Mazurki. Now, you got to really go back in her history to find this out. Mike Mazurki was one of the first guys from wrestling to go from wrestling to Hollywood. And he became a big star. But they used to go to a restaurant, and all of a sudden it was just a group of wrestlers in the beginning. It was going, and all of a sudden the fans started coming out, and I forgot who the guy's name was that owned the restaurant. I think it was the boxer that owned the restaurant. But the wrestlers, we come here to bullshit with each other, but so they decided to start the club, Cauliflower Alley Club, the Ring of Friendship. And they have a fund there that takes care of downtrodden performers, whether were a ring guy, whether you're a ring announcer, whether you hauled the ring, drove the truck, refereed, wrestled, played music or whatever. If you were in a business and it's only a $25, maybe $35.
Nope, 25.
25, still 25, only $25 for a membership. Part of the membership, the benevolence of the membership goes to a fund who helps people out who are downtrodden and everything. And it's once a year, of course. This year, the past year, we weren't able to do it. It's out in Las Vegas. Not the prettiest hotel in the damn world, but you get your money's worth. But what's pretty about it is the Ring of Friendship. The friendship, it's so fan-friendly. Superstars are walking around right and left, sitting down next to you, sharing the table with you. You're buying you a drink, you're buying them a drink. There's no hold barred, just be respectful, and the wrestlers are respectful. But it's a great thing. But the whole purpose of it is the benevolence of it, that we help people out that was in the business that can't help themselves out. So that $25 just doubles by the time it gets there.
Oh, and you know what? Hopefully, is there any wood to knock on here? Not really, but hopefully. Oh, wait, the chair is made out of wood. So knock on that. Knock on wood. We'll be able to have our reunion in September. Book, which is nice. It's a week before my birthday, so that's a nice little treat. My good friend Vaughn, what does she say here? Rise over here wants to know, Jerry Briscoe, what do you think of Mark and Jay Briscoe, the Briscoe brothers tag team?
I've been asked that a few times here lately, and everybody thinks that I hated those guys, but they're two guys trying to make a living. And I do have one thing, and I just felt like, I mean, he didn't want anybody using our name. I'd just be damn honest about it. And he said we worked too hard, but the only thing that I do have begrudge these guys, I don't begrudge them. I begrudge, I think it was, what's his name? Not Russo, but the guy that trained them, Johnny Roz.
Oh, okay.
Roz, I think, is the one that gave them their name, that he didn't pick up the phone, have the courtesy to pick up the phone and call a Jack Briscoe and tell him that he has two outstanding young men that love the business, and they've proven that he was true on that, and that he wanted them to use our name. Would it be okay? That's all it would have took. My brother would have been probably thrilled to death and said sure, but instead he just didn't like it, and he was my brother, and I loved him, and I was hot until I met the guys, and I told the guys why I was hot about it, and they understood. And we shook hands, and man, more power to these two young men.
Well, you know what? It's good that you came across them. Did they show you? Did you feel you were treated with the proper respect you deserved, where they took the name once they spoke to you in person?
Once I spoke to them in person, I had to go to them.
You had to go to them, really?
That's another thing. I had to go.
How did that come to be?
Because they were standing over there, and somebody said that was the Briscoe guys over there, and I said, okay. So I
Was it
went over
like
there. I went over and confronted him. I wanted to get it right off my chest. So there, because I was working in an event with them that night, and I didn't want there to be any animosity. So I'm gonna want to go. Hey, if I got an issue, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna tell them, you know. But I guess they might have figured, you know, the reason they didn't come that there was no issue, and that's okay, you know. But they found out, you know, and they understood, and I got nothing but respect for them. I mean, look what they have accomplished. These two guys come out of a little place in Delaware with no connection, no nothing. They worked their ever-loving butt off in every organization minor organization they ever went to. They become the cream of the crop. So, man, those guys have proven their worth.
Are you surprised that they've never wound up in WWE?
No.
Why is that?
Some guys aren't meant for WWE.
Our good friend Slick Rick B, Tony Atlas's neighbor up in Maine, is here. He's been such a great help to us this week, Jerry. He came up with some creative ideas for us over the summer, and we let him be one of the moderators to boot people if they get out of control. And we've had so many guests this week, it's been almost impossible for me to do that type of stuff. So, Slick Rick, we thank you. You know what? Do you think Slick Rick deserves a picture for all his hard work, Jerry?
Slick Rick, here's a drink to you.
All right, but not a picture, though. Just
unfortunately, it's not mixed either. and Dan said give you a black and white picture because the color ones cost too much. But I'm gonna give you a color one. I'm gonna give you the hardcore one.
We'll get you, because you know what, Slick Rick is hardcore.
Slick Rick with a name like that, you better be hardcore.
He's a great friend, a good man, and a question coming in, Jerry, as you sign that out to Slick Rick with no K, just R-I-C.
Oh, one of those, huh? That's reading he's slick.
That's right. Alexander Ramos asks, Mr. Briscoe, were there any wrestlers that thought they were tough till they had till you had to hook them and give them a life experience?
I can't do two things at one time.
I'm sorry. I apologize, Jerry.
I got the Slick Rick sign, and that's R-I-C. So
all right, just show it to him.
There you go, Slick Rick. And thanks for all your hard work here. Somebody's got to do it, but man, you're missing this view.
Rick, I wish you were here with us, brother. You got to email me your address so I can mail that to you when we get back to Boston later in the week.
Who am I answering this question for?
That
about
question
tough
is
guys?
from Vaughn for Alexander Ramos.
Alexander Ramos. So let me tell you, Mr. Ramos.
You don't know the question, though.
Yeah, I do. He
you
wanted to know
remember
if guys were tough.
Okay.
I want to say, what do
All
you
right.
mean I don't know the question?
Well, you said
what do you think you're working with?
You
here?
said you
Yeah.
couldn't do two things at the same
Well, I
time. I
can't,
didn't know
but-
you remembered it.
Come on, let me do my show,
All right,
okay?
all right.
Okay. I got a question here, and I'm only a college boy. I always idolized Danny Hodge as I was growing up. So when I started, of course, the guy I wanted to be with was Danny Hodge. So I would drive Danny Hodge. As I told the story earlier, you know, rookies, you know, you have certain assignment when back in those days. I was the driver. I was the driver for Danny Hodge. Jim Ross will tell you the same story. When he was a rookie, he had to drive for Danny Hodge. He got different stories than I do, but both of us had to drive for him. So Hodge would always tell me, kid, you're a wrestler. You know, go out and sell as hard as you can, but never, ever let anybody out wrestle you. And you're going to have challenges all the time. Because Hodge weighed about the same thing I did when he come out. He said, you're going to have these guys all the time. So, you know, I'm in a territory where I'm starting and I have all these experienced veterans. So I'd be in the dressing room and sometimes Hodge would come up, kid, because he'd hear the rumble, you take care of yourself tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So I go start, and as soon as I've been wrestling since I was 6, 7 years old. So I knew what it felt like when somebody. So as soon as I would feel that, I would take their ass down and I'd ride them. So after a while, they didn't like to be taken down by a little 180-pound college boy. So after 2 or 3 times, or I won't say 2 or 3 times, after a couple of dozen times, you know, the word gets around, hey, he might be 180 pounds, but he is a wrestler and it will take your ass down. So after a while, people just they just go with it, So I never had any serious issue where it developed into a fight, although it got a little when I had a damn 300-pound Russian try to put me to sleep, and I wasn't smart enough to know what he was doing. And back in those days, you had 2 out of 3 fall matches, and you went to your dressing room after the first fall. Once again, an old timer by the name of Buddy Coe was in my dressing room. He said, "Kid, that guy's trying to put you out." I said, "What is he trying to put you out?" I said, "Well, I noticed that." He said, "Don't allow that." So I went back out and I changed the tone of the match there. But I was protected by guys that were taking care of me in the back of the dressing room that I'd worked hard enough to get their respect.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, what a career you have had, what great content we produced in the 3 episodes we taped tonight. We are running out of time, folks. If you would love a WWE Hall of Fame Gerald Brisco photo to add to your collection, we have 3 available as we speak. One with him as the Hardcore Champion, one from his Hall of Fame induction ceremony with his brother Jack. And is Jack's birthday September 21st?
Jack's is 21st, mine's the 19th.
I'm the 21st too. So we're all September babies. I like that. That's why we get along so good. And we also have a classic of Jerry when he held the Mid-Atlantic Championship belt. So now is the time to get your order in. It is a great way to help us keep the show on the air. It is a great way to help keep these wrestling greats busy, occupied, and with income as coronavirus continues to, take over a lot of our life experience. So the time is now. It's 5:41. We'll give it another maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and then Jerry has got to rush back to Briscoe Estates, where I'm sure a fine meal awaits you from Mrs. Briscoe.
She was going to the grocery store, so
is she a good cook?
She's a Carolina Tar Heel, and she knows how to put some country food together for this kind of old country boy from Oklahoma.
She feeds you well.
We've been married for 41 years. We got married on leap year, so I tell her we've only been married 10 years. And
February
it depends on the occasion what her response is.
February 29th?
February 29th. And there was actually a February 29th this year.
So you did have an anniversary.
No, it was last year, pandemic year.
Right, because they're always on even years, kind of like the Olympics.
Yeah. So but I knew it was not too long ago.
Do you get?
That's how good I am.
Do you get away with forgetting an anniversary?
I get leeway on 29th because there's not a 29th every year, Dan. So I can either go if I'm feeling good on March or February 28th, or it's a weekend we'll go out, or on March 1st, or whatever. I don't know.
You get a little leeway.
I get either way on either side on the off years. Now I get one out of 4, but I ain't getting that 4th year excuse. If I'm 29, it only comes once every 4 years.
You got to do something.
I better remember the 29.
You better do something good the year there is a 29.
Yeah, and I get 1 out of 4 chances, so I get pretty damn good. That's pretty good odds.
All right, Patrick Rowe, thank you. He sent out a shout to Slick Rick for helping us. Alexander Ramos, I remember Ric Flair mentioned that Eddie Graham used to have Bob Roop really hurt a lot of the newbies, and the Briscoes wanted no part of that.
Here's the deal on that, and I love Bob Roop to death. And Bob would punish a guy. Hiro Matsuda, of course, was the famous, and then from Hiro it went to Bob Roop. But Eddie would have us come down, and here's the deal: we knew we had Roop and laying in the weeds there, and old Gordy Nelson, who was a tough SOB, who was a journeyman jobber, but he was one of the toughest guys to walk the face of the earth. We knew we had him over there. So what we would do, we'd be the warm-up guys. We'd go out and we would wrestle these guys, and then we'd wrestle them. And they couldn't understand what we're doing because we weren't hurting them, but we would wrestle them. We'd keep them moving. And that old sportatorium, and no matter if it was wintertime, it'd still be 120 degrees in there and humidity. We'd have them so drained and their tongue so worn out by the time we'd give them over to Roop or Matsuda. they'd hurt them in like 30 seconds. So we were the guys that I wasn't going to hurt anybody because these guys, they were wanting to make a living. I mean, if we'd done the same thing to Hogan, there'd be no Hulkamaniacs. There'd been no host for WrestleMania 37.
Right.
Or at least only one host. So we would wear these guys out, and we'd have their tongue dragging, and then we'd tag the bad boy in and let them, if the guy had any fight left, and even if they didn't, they'd end up hurt and running out of the damn sportatorium there. So yeah, we were totally against it. Have respect for too many people, and just didn't want to conduct business that way. There was another way to do it, and that was my brother and I's way, where we just wore the guy out, where we'd make them so tired we wish they were hurt.
Blown up isn't even the way to begin to describe it. We have a question from J.D. McGoogle. Hey, Jerry, I'm also native. I hope I'm going to say this right. Mischief? Okay. And I've just got to know, how do you all like your fry bread? What is fry bread?
Yeah, I can tell you from Boston. Fry bread is a staple. It's the best thing you can eat. I mean, of course, it's handmade, and I grew up eating it. My grandma, my great-grandma, my mother, my sisters now. I mean, my sister lives out in Huntington Beach, California, and I still call her, Shirley, make me some fry bread. And I'll get a package from Huntington Beach, California, and it'll have the fry bread in it. But every time I go to Oklahoma, I go down by the Chickasaw Nation down there. There's a big sign that says fried bread and fried pies. You don't want to miss that stop there. It's like a Stuckey's. You go in there and you can sit there. You put cinnamon on it. You can put pepper on it. You can put jelly on it. You can put everything on it. And it's a bread that you just can't describe until you had it.
I've never had the fried bread.
Well, you got to go to Oklahoma.
Is it kind of an Indian specialty?
It's Indian. It's like almost like a tortilla only bread with bread makings in it instead of tortilla.
Is it something you have almost like a rare treat?
No. It's a staple. I mean, you live on it. I mean, you take a piece of fried bread and it lasts you all week back in the old days.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
All right,
it's like beef jerky on it, bread to the Indians, jerky to the cowboys, and bread to the Indians.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, you guys got the beef and we got the bread.
She knows what she's talking about then. Slick Rick, thank you, my friend, again. Maybe we'll give it 2 more minutes and then we got to go. Again, the limo is coming for Jerry. It has been a pleasure to have you here, sir. I cannot wait for the fans' reaction to the 3 episodes that we taped today. I thought it was some great stuff.
I enjoyed it. It was casual. It's what I like to do. You go on some of these shows and they just press you for answers and press you for stuff that, but a guy that knows you and does the research, and you come in, it's a relaxed setting. You got the beautiful Gulf of Mexico. You got a fantastic crew that had me a cold soda when I walked in and took care of me. So it's fun. It's relaxing conversation, and it's just 2 friends sitting around talking and trying to be informative and answering questions.
And I think the person maybe we need to thank for all this is Bruce Pritchard, because when I first contacted you, you weren't exactly eager to jump at the chance, but I mentioned that I had helped Bruce by opening his live 2-man shows that he did with Conrad Thompson, and Bruce actually had some nice things to say about me, and that encouraged you to do it.
And that's rare for Bruce Pritchard. I talked to Bruce this week, and he got mad at me because I wouldn't jump and run
to go to WrestleMania.
Yeah. And but anyway, Bruce Pritchard is a very dear friend of mine, a very, very bright man, and of course he's going to get all the heat. I mean, and who wouldn't? I mean, you get an opportunity. You're in this business. You get the opportunity to work side by side with one of the business's greatest creators of all time. You're not going to take that opportunity. You're not going to work as hard as you can to make that guy happy. You're lying in your damn pants. And Bruce Pritchard, he takes undue criticism, and I probably shouldn't go here because I'll probably take a lot of it. But Bruce is no yes man, and that's one thing, you know, that's so mistaken about that man in Connecticut. He does not like the yes people around him. You don't last very long when you're a yes sir. He just don't want confrontation. He wants you to bring up a way to do better than his suggestion, and he wants you to explain it. And Bruce can explain it better than anybody I've ever seen, except the great Pat Patterson.
I think it's great that Bruce is back. He belongs in that company.
But that is Bruce. I mean, WWE is Bruce Pritchard. I'm sorry, man, but that's the way it is.
All right, wrestling fans. Well, this has been, again, great conversation. Heck, did I miss? What did I miss, sir? Oh, our friend Ken, Jerry,
Yeah.
What's your favorite match of your career? Call me biased, but it would be against the great Jay Youngblood and my hero Ricky Steamboat.
You know, you're really close. I mean, I've been so fortunate to be in the ring and share the ring with so many great people, but I can't rank them, and I refuse to rank them, but I will just say Ricky and Jay, they really changed the perception of the Briscoes, and I think they added to the legend of the Briscoes when we were able to go. Now, the Briscoe brothers had been baby faces in the territory of Mid-Atlantic since 1970s, strong baby faces, and then we had to argue like crazy when we come up with this goofy thing with Jimmy Crockett. That was another territory that had 3 towns a night running.
Yeah,
3 towns a night
and
running.
Nothing against WWF, but think of how really logistically how small of a territory that was to be able to have 3 towns a night.
Yeah, and they were all successful,
right?
Because the talent that Jimmy Crockett put together, and he had his chain there just like any other promoter. And he needed baby faces. And baby faces over in Carolina, it was a baby face territory. And Ricky and Jay they'd just gone through a brutal, the most successful feud in Carolina history, which covers a lot up to that time with Sergeant Slaughter and Don Kernoodle. Bloodbath fest, and I mean they tore the houses down. Then Ricky and Jay were sitting there with nobody to work with, nobody fresh to work with. And we got together one night because we were all baby faces. We were allowed to travel together. And we come up with this program. One belt that Jack and I had never had, but one that we wanted was the World Tag Team Championship. We've been tag team champions all over the place, but we'd never been certified World Tag Team Champions. So Ricky and Jay had that. Oh, let's make this thing. You know, Jack and I, and we weren't afraid to say it, but we're nearing the end of our career. Okay, we're going to retire. We're going to win this belt. And that was the whole thing. We're going to win this belt. We're going to retire. We're going to take it home to Florida. Screw you, Carolina people. So that was it. We made the belt mean something. So we went to Crockett and proposed it. No, my I'm run 3 towns tonight. Baby face did. And so finally, we just were so persistent. And we finally talked him into doing it, letting us turn. But we turned, we wasn't one of those guys that go out and all of a sudden you're following the rules and the next night you're breaking every rule in the book. The way we worked it is we're above that. We're smarter than that. We know the rules. So we're going to take the rules all the way to the final nanosecond. And then we're going to obey the rule. But those 5 seconds that you have to disobey the rules, we're going to do it. So we push that angle there. We're not breaking any rules. You guys, just because we're wrestling they're the heroes and you're booing us. Why? Better wrestlers. and we just became a little bit more arrogant and a little bit more aggressive in the ring. We didn't go all out hills. We didn't need to be. We didn't need to change our entire personality. We stayed the Briscoe brothers with just a little bit more swagger and a little bit more aggressiveness. So Jay and Ricky, yeah. But the Funk brothers, I got to throw Terry and Dory in there. 20 years that feud took place, whether it was Jack and Terry, where Terry and me, whether it's Dory and me, or Dory and Jack, whether it's Dory Jr. and Terry against me and Jack, whether it's Dory Sr., Dory Jr., or any combination against us. It was an angle that worked and magic in the ring, not only in one territory, but every territory in the entire world that we took the match. We sold out all over the place with those two guys, and they were the other two. But those people there. But I've been in the ring with so many marvelous, Roddy Piper, guys like that, just on and on. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Wow.
That's true. You did wrestle Steve Austin. Yeah.
I've been stunned by him a million times.
All right, wrestling fans. Again, I'm going to refresh one more time, see if we have any orders. Otherwise, wait a minute. Thank you, Mr. Glantz. Ken, from Ken, I should say. Were the Road Warriors stiff as hell with you guys, or they respected you so much they were careful?
Road Warriors, they were stiffer than hell, and we knew it, and we didn't mind. That was the Road Warriors. We could handle it. So, just bring it. I so strange. We like working with guys like Stan Hansen, like Bruiser Brody, like Bobby Duncombe, guys that would knock you down, like Johnny Valentine, Don Jardine, the Porter. I loved and Jack loved working with these stiff guys because you know what? We could be stiff right back and they wouldn't bitch about it. So, no, did I get knocked silly in the ring a few times? You damn right. But did I return the favor a few times? You damn right. So,
well, wrestling fans, these stories are just the tip of the iceberg of what Jerry and I want to do. I'd love to have him make a permanent cemented seat for him on Wrestling Insiders, but it's all up to you. Again, the autograph signing, we'd love to do something like this again in the near future. Jerry, not only is he going to be with us on Wrestling Insiders, but if you want to get a cheap plug in, you have a show called Briscoe and Bradshaw with our good friend John Bradshaw Layfield, who helped take off John Cena Sr.'s head, almost scalping the man at the studio. Tell us a little bit about that.
Layfield and I, he's a damn Texan and he's proud of it, and I'm a damn Hokie and I'm proud of it. And there's always been that animosity at Red River that crosses there that separates the good from the bad, and everybody knows what side the good's on. It's on the north side. But we have that natural rivalry. But we have that respect. I helped get John Layfield hired in the WWE, and his payback to me for helping him out was his success that he had, not only in the ring, but as a man outside the ring and his post-career, what he's done for the inner city children and for underprivileged children throughout the entire world with the Rugby for Life programs that he started in Bermuda, over in Africa. Now he's got one going in Memphis, Tennessee. To the computer programs that he gets out to the kids in need that don't have access to computer for learning and everything. The guy is a marvelous humanitarian and a marvelous person. And he's a damn loud ass, big talking ass Texan that gentleman at heart.
All right, wrestling fans, you heard it from Jerry Briscoe. A treat to have him with us the first time we've been together, and my gosh, a little over a year now since you did that seminar with us, but hopefully many good times ahead. Again, the Super Chat is open for business. Leave us your thoughts on the show in the comment section below. You can always email us. I'll put that right there, bw@bostonwrestling.com, because if it's not for wrestling fans, Jerry, I think it's safe to say there is no professional wrestling.
Man, what would we do without them?
Right.
I mean, I've been in love with them for 51 years now, and I hope it's another 51 years. I'm still in love with them.
All right, wrestling fans, we went a little longer than we thought. We were having so much fun. Don't forget, tomorrow, because we're still out of the loop as we head home to Boston, we are going to have an all-day Tony Atlas Marathon on the YouTube channel. So again, it's a great fundraising opportunity for us, a great way to showcase our programs to new fans that may not even be familiar with us. So for my good friend, the Hall of Famer Gerald Brisco, I'm Dan Marty. Look for episodes with Gerald Brisco coming soon. Good night.